We've talked about the West Virginia offense and why they will be better in 2025, but what about the much maligned West Virginia defense? Will the defense under new coach Rich Rodriguez and new defensive coordinator Zac Alley be better in 2025? I think so, and in this episode of Couz's Corner, I'm going to explain why. So sit back, relax, and let's do that right now. What is up, and welcome to this episode of Couz's Corner, your home for top-shelf college sports content around the West Virginia Mountaineers and a little bit around the Big 12 as well. Thanks for joining the show. Yes, we talked about West Virginia's offense, and I promise you I will try to talk about the defense as well, because after all, that's really what the Achilles heel of this West Virginia team has been probably at least 2 of the last 3 seasons, if not longer. So let's talk about the 2 reasons why. Number one, just individual talent. Why I think West Virginia will be better in 2025 on the defensive side of the ball. When you look at Phil Steele, this awesome Phil Steele College Football 25 preview magazine, which I'm a proud owner of. When you look at his preseason All Big 12 team for 2025, he has 4 players on the West Virginia defense listed, whether it be first team, second team, third team, or fourth team. He has 4 players from WVU. He has defensive end Jamoy Robinson and cornerback Michael Couz as first team All Big 12 performers. That's right. 2 first team All Big 12 performers, according to Phil Steele, on this West Virginia defense. Then on the third team, he has linebacker Chase Wilson and safety Fred Perry. So between the first and third team, he has 4 West Virginia Mountaineers listed. He has 8 West Virginia Mountaineers total, 2 on special teams, 2 on offense, 4 on defense. When you compare that to his preseason Big 12 in 2023, or 2024 rather, he had 2 Mountaineers on the list on the defensive side of the ball. He had Sean Martin as a third-team defensive end, and he had Trey Lathan as a fourth-team linebacker. So already going into the season, he's projecting West Virginia to be better from an individual talent perspective, at least, as far as number of all Big 12 performers. And I happen to agree with him. I think there's a lot of very talented players on this West Virginia roster, at least on paper. Now, will it translate to the field? Because most of these guys are moving up a level. We will see. All 4 guys I mentioned are coming up from the G5 ranks. Jamoy Robinson from UTSA, Michael Couz from Nevada, Fred Perry from Jacksonville State, Chase Wilson from Colorado State. How fast will it translate over? We will obviously find out. But I think on paper, at least, we have more talent coming into the season on this 2025 roster on defense than we did in 2024 across the board. Now, there might be weaknesses at certain areas, certain positions, but I think overall defensively, there's more talent, especially in the secondary. I think that's where we're going to see the biggest difference. After all, can't get much worse, right? West Virginia was 130th or 132nd out of 134 teams in pass defense a year ago. Can't get much worse. You know where to go but up at this point, right? Hey, do me a favor. Go check out my good friends over at Appalachia Digital. If you need a brand new website for your small business, or if you're just looking to get found easier on Google, go check out appalachiadigital.com/Couz. These are the fine folks who designed my brand new website over at wvsportschat.com. They did a fantastic job. I love their work. I think you will too. So go check them out. appalachiadigital.com/Couz. Let them know Couz sent you. Now let's get back to the show. And then the second reason I'm going to say that West Virginia's defense is going to be better in 2025 is simply, I think they upgraded the defensive coordinator. And I just think overall, when you look at Zac Alley's track record, I think he's a better defensive coordinator than what we had in Jordan Leslie. And I think he's going to put the players in a better position to succeed. And I think Rich Rod has done a better job. Again, it's all speculation at this point, but I think he's done a better job hiring a staff. I think Neil Brown made some staffing decisions that missed, and I think that hurt his tenure here. And I think Rich Rod will do a better job of hiring staff and assistant coaches, namely Zac Alley. They paid Zac Alley $1.5 million a year for a reason. I think he's that talented. He's going to be more aggressive. He's going to force more turnovers, and he will stop the run. When you look throughout his history, those are what he does. He forces turnovers, and he stops the run. Let's just go back and look at his first year as defensive coordinator at Jacksonville State in 2022, his first time under Rich Rod. Jacksonville State at that time was an FCS program. They were number 2 overall in FCS in overall defense. They had the second best overall defense in the entire FCS. In 2023, their first year in the FBS, he was still the defensive coordinator at Jacksonville State. They had a top 25 defense in least points allowed per game. They were 15th in rushing defense, 8th in forced turnovers, and 18th in least touchdowns allowed. So a good, solid defense. What'd he do? They were top 15 in rushing defense, 8th in forced turnovers. Fast forward to 2024, after he got hired on to be the co-DC under Brent Venables at Oklahoma. What'd they do? They forced turnovers, and they stopped the run. They were 3rd in the country in defensive touchdowns at Oklahoma last year. They were 5th in the country in fumbles recovered at Oklahoma last year. They were 10th in tackles for loss, which points to what? More aggressiveness. They were 23rd in rushing defense. What I say he was going to do? Stop the run. They were also 25th in sacks, 30th in scoring defense, 11th in first down defense at Oklahoma, his first year and only year as co-DC there under Brent Venables. So when you look at his track record, he's always going to be good at stopping the run and forcing turnovers. Now, West Virginia has actually been okay at stopping the run for the last few years. The problem is they couldn't stop the pass to save their life, and they couldn't force any turnovers. If you have a defense that's not great at stopping people, you can offset that by stealing possessions and forcing turnovers. West Virginia was not able to do any of that. They were 56th in the country in rushing D last year, which is not terrible. But the problem is their passing defense, 125th. I said it was 130th. It wasn't quite that bad. It was 125th. Still bad enough. But it forced them to have to put less guys in the box, which opened up lanes for the running game, which kind of hurt their run defense to a degree. I don't think they'll have to do that with Zac Alley running the defense and with the talent they're going to have in the secondary. They'll be able to put extra bodies in the box to stop the run. They're also going to force more turnovers, which will steal possessions for that high-powered West Virginia offense, which loves to go fast. It's a no-brainer. I think it works perfectly. If you have an offense that likes to go fast and likes to score points, what do? You go out and get a defensive coordinator who likes to force turnovers and be aggressive. That's what Rich Rod did. That's what Zac Alley has done throughout his career. I don't think it'll be any different this year at West Virginia. I really like what they're bringing back on the defensive line with Edward Vesteren, Hammond Russell, the transfer of Jamori Robinson up to be defensive end. I like the addition of Braden Sider and Devin Grant at Bandit. We mentioned Chase Wilson at linebacker. I love what he's done in the secondary with guys like Michael Coates and Fred Perry and Derek Carter and Devontae Golden Nelson. Just Justin Harrington, just go on down the list. KK Tarnew's coming back from last year. He was one of the top performers on that defense a year ago. He's coming back. I like what Rich Rod has done. I like the players he has. And I love the addition of Zac Alley as defensive coordinator. And that is the reason I think West Virginia's defense will be much improved in 2025. And hey, like I mentioned earlier, nowhere to go but up, right? I mean, you could fall in a few individual categories, but not many. Here was West Virginia's defensive stats in 24. They were 110th in the country in total defense, 109th in scoring defense, 117th, tied for 117th in turnovers gained, with only a total of 11. They were 125th in pass D, 56th in rushing defense, 131 in third down defense, and tied for 100th in red zone defense. Here was on the flip side. Here's Oklahoma playing in an SEC schedule, arguably the second toughest SEC schedule. Here's what they were with Brent Venables as co-DC. 19th in total D, 29th in scoring D, 36th in turnovers gained with a total of 21. They were tied for 26, by the way. 43rd in passing defense, 24th in rushing defense, 39th in third down defense, and 60th in red zone defense. I mean, you're going up. You're on the upward trajectory, in my opinion, here. When you look at Zac Alley's track record, what he's done throughout his career, the type of defense he plays, West Virginia is going to be better in 2025. I would almost be willing to put money on it. But don't ask me to do that because I'm not sure I would. I'm kind of a tightwad in that regard. But anyway, what do you think about West Virginia's defense going into 2025? Do you think they'll be better? And if so, why? And hit that thumbs up button for me too. If you think West Virginia's defense is going to be much improved in 25, hit the thumbs up. Let me know why. And also let me know in the comments why. And if you don't think they'll be better, and if you think the hiring of Zac Alley was a bad idea, let me know that in the comments as well. I want to hear from you. I respect all opinions. I also want to give a quick shout out to my paid VIP channel members of this episode. If you want to be a paid VIP member, there's a join button over at my channel homepage right beside my profile photo. There's also a link to it in the description, and some of you may have a join button right below this video. If you do, you can press that. It'll take you, show you the different perks that go along with being members of the 2 levels I offer. But the shout outs of this episode are TJinx048, Danny Stickle, WVU Mountaineer Lair with Kenny, Stormy Cyclone, and Phil LeMasters. Thank you all for being paid VIP members and helping me keep the lights on. Another shout out to my channel sponsor, Appalachia Digital. See them for your website needs, and thank them for helping support the show as well. Thanks for your support. Thanks for watching. Hope the rest of your day's top shelf. Oh, and there is a video in the corner of your screen too. YouTube says you'll like this video I did. This other video I did. So check it out. God bless. Q Country Roads.